Discover how to write headlines that capture attention fast. 1 of 3. How headlines improve sales. You've probably heard that headlines are the most important element of a sales letter, article, blog post, etc., and you may be wondering if that's true. Are headlines as important as everyone says they are? Today, we're going to talk about whether headlines are all they're cracked up to be. Headlines are, of course, extremely important. Are they the ultimate tool in your sales arsenal? Probably. It depends on your overall marketing strategy, but headlines are undoubtedly extremely important at any rate. Why? Well, the main reason is that it's the first thing people see when they visit your website, or open your email, or read your article. They say you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and that's very true. Your headline is your chance to grab people's attention and interest them enough that they want to learn more about your message. Whether it gets them to read your article, subscribe to your email list, or buy your product, a great headline will help you get that attention. Different types of headlines. Headlines are important. We've established that. Believe it or not, there are different types of headlines and different types of work for different niches. But how do you know what type of headline you should use for a given situation? One of the easiest ways to figure it out is by looking at the headlines used by your most successful competitors. You don't want to copy their headlines. You want to see what type of headline they are using. Is their headline serious or silly? In some niches, a funny, or light-hearted headline works best, but in others, it's important to be serious. Is the tone darker or lighter? Do they warn of impending doom if you don't buy their product, or do they try to make the reader feel good? What color is the text? Red is usually best for headline text, but in some niches, other colors may work better. Are there any specific buzzwords that several of your competitors use? You want to look for different things they have in common to establish a baseline that will help you figure out what works in your niche. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you to figure out what works and what doesn't. What makes a great headline? Crafting the perfect headline is not easy. But crafting a good headline certainly is. You don't have to create the perfect headline right off the bat, but it's a good idea to create the best one possible to start. It's also a good idea to create several headlines in the beginning so you can start testing different options to find out which one performs best. We'll talk about testing headlines in a later lesson, but for now, let's look at what makes a great headline. A great headline is one that grabs attention, makes the reader want to learn more, conveys one crucial message, get readers to act. Headlines are usually shocking in some way, and often contain some mystery element that makes people want to read more. Let's look at a few famous copywriting headlines that might give you some ideas. At 50 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock. That was written by David Ogilvy, who describes it as the best headline he ever wrote. It easily demonstrated how quiet the ride was in an era where loud cars were commonplace. How 3 of Supershell's 9 ingredients fight engine noise, including one hard-to-hear form of knock that could lead to real damage. That includes curiosity and makes readers want to learn more, especially because they don't want their expensive cars to get engine damage. As you can see from these examples, great headlines are usually intriguing in some way, and get people to read more so they can find out what's in it for them. In the next 2 lesson posts, I'm going to go over how to create the perfect headline. We're going to cover ways to create the best headline for your purposes, how to choose the right type of headline for your needs, and how to test various headlines to find the one that gets the biggest conversions. Be sure to revisit this site, so you don't miss a single post. Our next lesson will be huge. We're going to look at some specific things you can do to create better headlines. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of headline creation, so don't miss it. I'll see you in the second lesson post for this series. Until then,